I'm Nick. We're here to talk about the rich history of the Stevens Point Brewery. Let's go! Let's go!
Hi there, I'm Connor.
Julie.
Hey, I'm Nick. What's up?
Nice to meet you.
Hi, we're here with Julie Bernsteen, and we're about to take a deeper look into the Point Brewery. So Julie, tell us, when was the industry first founded?
The Stevens Point Brewery was founded back in 1857 by Frank Wally and George Reuter. They were two German immigrants that settled here, and we've been the family ownerships all the way up until about 1992.
Would you be able to possibly name what were the first alcoholic beverages produced?
Well, Point Special on record was not produced until about 1887, which we still produce this beer today. There was a few other malt-based beverages produced at that time. It's really no record of what they were called.
How did the Point Brewery survive during Prohibition?
Prohibition was tough. It was between 1920 and 1933, and the brewery produced a malt-based beverage called Point Special Beverage, which contained less than 0.5% of alcohol required by law. It was just kind of a near beer, or what they would call an NA beer now. Also bottled and produced a number of different sodas. Orange Crush was one that was packaged here. There was a Clio Cola and a lemonade also at that time.
Cool, very cool. Do you know if there are any innovations as of machinery or certain types of things?
Sure.
That
Technology is, I'm sure, I mean, it's been every year, even since I've been here for 17 years, and the technology has just been incredible for brewing. And as far as the equipment we have and the new things that have been invested, the ownership just within the last year have spent, I think it's about 2.1 million on new equipment and advances in technology and quality control, very important in our lab. And there's a number of things that we've done just from our keg filler, sanitizing, things that we can do better to improve the quality of our product. And I can't imagine them having anything like that when they started. I bet they had very basic, even from switching from wooden barrels to stainless steel. When I had first started, we had white oak wooden vats that used to store the beer, and the wooden vats were lined with a black sort of tar inside, and I can't imagine, I mean, to keep those clean and to keep them sanitized was just a lot of work. And so we really, I mean, that was all taken out. Stainless steel was added. We've added several new tanks even since then, and every single one is hooked up to a temperature controlled monitor and computer, and everything is monitored all electronically now. We're very advanced technology-wise here.
Cool. All right. So, does Point Brewery make their products anywhere else than just this specific location?
For the soda, we do get some help down at Black Bear Bottling Company down in South Milwaukee. Since we are primarily focusing on our beer brands here in packaging, we do get some help from them with bottling some of our products because of the sanitizing that'll need to get done when packaging the black cherry cream and that sort of thing, because that, you would need to have a little bit more sanitizing going on for that. So we tend to focus more on beer packaging here, and then they help us out with some of the soda packaging down in South Milwaukee. But other than that, all of our beer products are made right here.
Okay, and for a final question, how does Point Brewery make Point a better place, make Stevens Point a better place, or help out the community?
I'd like to think we make the community a better place. I think having a brewery in your city is something, of value when people have visitors over. You know, let's go take a tour of the brewery. It's something for the city. It's a tourist attraction, is, you know, for the conventions and things that go on, and we try to get as much business to the city for, you know, conventions or to fill up the hotels or what have you. But we'd like to be the tourist attraction in town. I think that's a value. And as far as being a part of the community, we support so many different charities, and we contribute to, for example, Project Graduation at SPASH. Any sort of graduation thing they had at Pacelli, I know we donated root beer. Everything, you know, a number of these we donate sodas, root beer. The Walk Wisconsin, that's more root beer. We've supported trivia for as long as I can remember. Riverfront Rendezvous is another. Numerous, every single church picnic you can think of, we've contributed something to. But we like to be, and it's very important to us to support our community, to kind of give back to our main consumers that are right here in Stevens Point.
Thank you very much for the time that you've been willing to give to us, and it was very neat to hear a little bit about the Point Brewery.
Thank you very much.
Hi there, I'm Connor.
Hi, I'm Rachel.
I'm Nick.
Nice to meet you. If you guys are all ready, we're gonna head out on our tour.
That sounds great.
Thanks.
Let me start off with some brief history. The brewery was founded in 1857 by two German immigrants, Frank Reuter and George Wally. We were locally owned up until 1992 when we were bought out by a company called Barton Beers. They are the company that imports Corona into the United States. Unfortunately, they kind of put us on the back burner. So then in 2002, we were bought out by two Milwaukee businessmen named Jim and Joe. In 1989, we actually built our warehouse. Train tracks, you can see right here on Beer Street. Trains used to run through here and drop off our grain past those two gray doors. However, since we built our warehouse, we just now have semis come, drop it off at the same location, guys unload it into that small trap door. As you can see on our warehouse, you can see Nicholas C. Point. He is our mascot. He was actually an original worker here in the 1800s. However, we did Photoshop his head a little bit and change his name. Mash kettle holds over 6,000 gallons. We heat it up here until it reaches an oatmeal-like consistency, and from there we pump it into our lauter tun. The lauter tun acts like a giant sift, separating the solid mash from the liquid, which is called wort, W-O-R-T. The mash is then sold off to the local farmers who feed it to their cows, since it is so high in nutrients. That's why we like to say happy cows come from Wisconsin. Alright, like I said before, the brewery was founded in 1857. The original location is where the gift shop and our offices are today. However, this building was built in 1902, and we do have 3 original pieces of equipment from 1902. The first I'd like to point out is actually that dark blue pillars with the red band around the top. That is our malt scale. It kind of works like a doctor's scale where they can add and subtract weights until they have the proper amount of malt, which is then dropped in our mash kettle below. The second piece of equipment is actually right behind you, is our original malt bin. That is made of all pine boards, and all but a few on the top have been replaced. That holds all of our malt, and it only lasts about 1 to 2 weeks, and there's about 60,000 pounds of grain in there. A lot of people refer to this as beer heaven, and you can obviously see why. All these boxes are full of completed beer. You will notice that not all the products in here are Point products. That is because we do something called contract brewing. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of clearance on that, and so all I really know is that we do bottle, can, and keg for other companies, and we do not earn any profits off of their sales. things that I'd like to point out before we do go in. On the second shelf to the bottom in this first display, there are 2 pictures, signed and autographed. That is from The Great Outdoors, which is a movie produced, I believe, in the 80s with John Candy and Dan Aykroyd. The movie was supposed to take place in Wisconsin, so they wanted it to be authentic. We sent them a pallet of beer, and they drank it in many scenes. You can see it in the kitchen scene and the poker scene. In return, they sent us autographed pictures, and that's why we like to say that's what made Point Beer famous. The second I'd like to point out is a little bit more serious and can be seen in the back display, second to top shelf. It's our Orange Crush display. That was very important to us because we continued brewing through Prohibition, and we actually bottled Crush for what was once Pepsi. We survived Prohibition, and that makes us the second oldest continually run American-owned brewery in the United States.
He's the only worker that we could not identify in this picture, and that's why we chose him as our mascot. So this is the original picture of him without his